Until the
No, it is
here we are.
We're live and we're cooking, and the sun is shining brightly, and the dog has got his doggy dinner treats, and here we are.
All is well. Wait for a big guy. We have to wait for people to arrive. There we go. That's
very,
it.
very smart.
So it's Greek night. It is Greek night tonight.
We're in blue. Blue for Greece.
Yeah, we should have a big flag hanging behind us, really. But hey, we
should.
We didn't get there. Evening, everybody.
Evening, everybody. Nice to see you.
Hope everyone has poured a glass and is ready and waiting. And
we are a bit ahead of the game, actually, because we cheated and had a little glass earlier and that. But obviously, it was all in the course of, testing and research.
Do you have your canapes ready?
Look at them. Look at them.
Phil is very excited about the prospect of basically any of that.
Please do send us a message so we know that you're there. Good evening, Bob. Good evening, Claire.
Evening.
Evening to everybody else. Hello, it's Hannibal Brown Wines. Here we are, broadcasting again on a Thursday evening, 7 o'clock.
Greek night, Thursday night. Greek night this week. Very exciting.
My name's Pamela. This is Jude.
Hello.
And this is the star. He's the star. If you get bored listening to us, then just watch the doggy. This is Finn. Finn McCool, our big bad beast.
He's been a very good boy recently, so let's hope he maintains that level of behaviour.
Indeed.
Yamas from Luke and Simon. Yes,
Yamas.
Indeed. Pour a glass, and we should all say Yamas.
Yamas. Nice to see you. Cheers. Yes. Cheers, Finn.
So
here we are. What number is this then?
Gosh, like number 25 of lockdown or thereabouts, I reckon.
Yeah. That's it's quite some going, actually. For those of you who've been with us since the beginning of these events, which started around about just after lockdown. Unbeknownst to us, we didn't know we were going to be doing them. Now, who knew we were going into lockdown? But this is number 25. I
think so, yeah.
Which is possibly one of the reasons why we said, we're going to take a break on the Sunday evenings and just let you have your summer holidays in August. So it's just Thursdays at the moment, every Thursday, 7 o'clock.
And we thought, well, you probably noticed the last few weeks we've introduced a few interesting countries of origin, because just a really quick little Hannibal Brown history. When we launched Hannibal Brown back in November 2012, it's all about for explorers of great wine. And Hannibal is our explorer, and we are all about looking for wines from slightly more unusual places as well as the usual suspects.
Yeah.
So we've had Lebanon, we've had volcanic,
India,
Austria, all sorts. So
and that's not to take away from those countries though, because they are seriously established wine producing nations in their own right. It's just that you don't see them very often because, unfortunately, we've got a mass shelf space that is kind of like designated to the Australians and the South Africans and all
French,
the usual
obviously
the Europeans, all the usual suspects. And these guys don't really get very much of a look in. So we're going to talk about that.
Indeed. And a few more hellos here. Hello to Kerry and Michelle.
Hi, Mandy.
Lots of hellos to Finn.
Welcome.
Mandy says, Kalispera. Indeed, Kalispera. Good evening. Dan Morgan is looking forward to learning a little bit about Greece and Greek wines. And we're really happy that the Katrina and Karina from Russian Rebels are going to be joining us. And thank you to them for the wonderful canapé recipes. I'm going to flash my board of canapés. Actually, a fly's been in one of them, but we're avoiding that one. We've marked it.
Yeah, we've got the dog. He's designated flycatcher. He's quite good at it. I think we've seen this before.
If you tuned in last week, you will have seen that. I'm just going to pop up on screen first of all the two wines that we're talking about this evening.
We are.
That we're drinking this evening whilst talking generally about delicious things like wine and food. So the white being the Viadano, which is the grape variety.
Vidiano.
From Crete, hence the big arrow towards Crete. And then the red is the Ioitico, which is how it's pronounced, seemingly, which is from the Peloponnese, which is where that big blue arrow is pointing out, which is down in the south of Greece.
Yeah.
So, and actually very much in that southeastern corner of the Peloponnese.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the Rouge soon. But
why is it that there are so many Greek wines? It's Greece. How big is it? as a wine producing nation?
So as you know, I like my statistics, and Greece sit at sort of 17th in the world for wine production. Bearing in mind the top 3 countries produce 65% of all of the wines in the world, it's fairly small. But one of the challenges that Greece has, well, history has been a big thing for Greece, because they used to be, you know, really at the forefront. So 2,500 years ago, 3,000 years ago, it was all about wines coming from Greece.
Yeah.
Greece they sort of revolutionized wine and
they
made
had the
it
monopoly
a sort of,
on everything.
and made it a kind of dignified, you know, everyone was drinking it. In fact, something really interesting that I read recently was, you know, all of the the dignified wine drinkers would water down their wine because they wanted to sit and talk about philosophy and politics and
keep a clear head,
not get too smashed.
Unlike
basically.
the rest of us, hey,
who they would think were barbarians. It was only the barbarians who drank neat wine, the hard stuff,
the fuel.
Indeed. So it was the distinguished folk used to water down their wine. However, these days we would definitely think the barbarians watered down their wine, and distinguished folk drank it neat and lots of it.
Yeah. But it is true to say also that Greece is the it's where the story began. It's where everything began. And what year did they discover the first wine press?
Oh, so
in Greece,
the oldest wine press ever discovered in history is actually from Crete. And it's 2,500 years old. So they've found this sort of ancient...
BC? No.
So
2,500
BC. Sorry. So 4,500 years
before
old.
Chardonnay.
Possibly. So really, you know, the forefront of modern day wine production, but 4,500 years ago.
You got to ask yourself what that press looked like, though.
We reckon it's a couple of rocks with a bit of petrified grape skin in between it, which was the only way they proved. Indeed, yeah. So hi Evelyn, hi Alice, hi Russell. Great to see you guys all here.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We're just talking about Greece this evening.
Indeed. So 17th largest wine producer in the world. We're going to just zoom to Crete very quickly to talk about this white wine before we say hello to the ladies from Russian Rebels.
Let's do it.
We're tasting the Vidiano, which for some reason I just want to say Viadano, but
Vidiano. Dyslexic.
That's what it is. Which is the grape variety. And for some of you probably heard of the grape variety Assyrtiko, which is a Greek grape variety and very well known in Santorini. Someone mentioned they're off to Santorini, hopefully at some point.
Wow. Santorini, the donut country.
And beautiful volcanic wines.
Yeah.
So Assyrtiko is really a sort of, you know, up there amongst the top grape varieties in Greece. And it has to be said that of all the wines produced in Greece, 90% are produced from indigenous grape varieties.
That's quite something.
That means grape varieties you've never heard of.
Yeah, and that in itself is actually another reason why, you know, they really don't get an awful lot of look in this country. And I do think personally it is because people just don't. Well, either they've never heard of the grape varieties or they definitely can't pronounce them. I mean, I can't pronounce them. In fact, Vidiano is a great variety. Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. I can pronounce it. You can't.
I can't read.
But it's a bit of a minefield of grape varieties.
Yeah.
And there's something like 1,500 indigenous grape varieties. It's just extraordinary.
And I would challenge you to name any. Feel free to chuck them out there. If one comes to mind, which isn't Vidiano, then let us know. What do you know any Greek grape varieties?
I know
they really are fairly obscure. Yeah. You're not allowed to Assyrtiko because we've already alluded to that one.
Yeah.
But
so a little bit about the Vidiano.
So Assyrtiko of Crete. Let me get a little map of Crete up quickly.
Yep.
Which is an island very close to actually very close to Libya and Egypt, to be honest with you. It's really here we go. I got a map of that area just to put it into perspective.
There we go.
You know, there is Crete, the big
slap bang in the middle of the Med.
Yeah, bang in the middle of the Med. Really quite a hot climate, potentially. But it does have these lovely Aegean breezes that keeps it nice and cool, which is what produces these great wines of a non-super hot climate. It doesn't make you think of somewhere which is grown super hot. It's not overly ripe, not overly alcoholic. This Vidiano is 12.5%. So it's really nice and fresh, and an excellent food wine.
It is an excellent food wine. And one of the reasons why it's an excellent food wine is because it's got everything you want, but not in bucket loads. So there's not bucket loads of acidity. It's just a nice freshness to it. There's not bucket loads of fruit. There's just a nice elegance to it. And I don't know if anybody's tasting it this evening, you'll probably notice that you get this kind of dryness, real dryness on the end of the palate, which is almost like crying out for the food, which we should probably crack into. Well, but we'll wait until the ladies are here.
Well, the ladies are here actually, so
okay.
It's nearly time to say hello, isn't it?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Here we go.
Let's say hello to Karina and Katrina from Russian Rebels. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. So welcome everybody from Hannibal Brown Wines and anybody who's joined us from Russian Rebels. This is Katrina on the right-hand side and Karina on the left-hand side as you're looking.
And you have the Vidiano.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. We're very good already. Yes.
Excellent. So we have made an attempt at making the khachapuri, which was your number one, the Cheats khachapuri, which don't look quite as good as your pictures, but they taste quite good.
So we've kind of linked up with Katrina and Karina, for everybody who understands that we often do sort of collaborative tastings in the normal sort of setting where you come to us and we get to talk to you direct. But we thought, actually, wouldn't it be nice to sort of collaborate with a like-minded company? And in this case, it is the Russian Rebels, who have fabulous food propositions.
As Finn is pointing out.
As Finn is like, get down, dog. Yeah. And so, Karina and Katrina, would you like to just talk a little bit about your business?
Yeah, sure. I hope you can hear us okay, because our reception kind of drops a little bit. Yeah, are we good? Okay. Good to hear. As the name suggests, actually, our roots are in Russia and the whole of the area of Eastern Europe, really. But there is a very good connection. That's the reason, really, why we're here talking about Greek food and Greek wine, is because it's such a massive area where both my parents, for example, come from Ukraine, actually, and also the Black Sea area, which is, of course, very close to Turkey and Greece. And also Karina's family comes from the Caucasian area as well. So there is a lot of flavors actually that kind of unites this region. So we thought it would be really fun to talk to you guys and specifically taste the Greek wines with some of the food that we do. We create food for events, for birthdays, for friends gatherings, for picnics, for just very lazy dinners for 2 people in the house.
Like now?
Actually, yes, like now. And normally, obviously, we would come to people's houses and plate it and to serve it. It has been a little bit different for the last few months, where we've basically been putting food in little boxes and just delivering it. But yeah, we've got quite a lot of examples here, so we can munch through them and talk to you a little bit more about that.
So do you want to talk about the khachapuri, which you've recommended goes specifically with this Vidiano wine?
Which I'm going to taste right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, actually, because my roots, my father's roots are from Georgia, and Georgia is famous for actually its wines and also a lot of food which goes with wines very well, because every meal was accompanied by a glass of wine. So khachapuri, it's actually cheese bread, and there was a specific cheese which was used for khachapuri. We can't get it here at all, and we were trying and searching, but what we've done a combination of cheeses which kind of now resembles the result we want to achieve. The combination is actually a traditional cheddar, and then mozzarella and feta cheese, which obviously Greek from Olivology, which is amazing, actually, the Olivology feta, which we're using there. Here it is. And the cheat khachapuri, we call it cheat khachapuri because it's a quicker version of it. Otherwise, we needed to, do a different dough. So here we're using puff pastry.
And very welcome, actually. I made morning.
Did you? So how was it? Was it easy or not really to make them?
Yeah, it was a real winner because I have had khachapuri before in a couple of different ways, and I love it. And I spent a bit of time working in Turkey and in my history, and they have they obviously don't call it khachapuri, but they have all different sorts of borek and similar thing. They've sort of these white crumbly cheeses with pastries and breads, and just delicious. So I was dead chuffed that this came up, and very keen to make it, and I definitely over cheesed mine because I do love my cheese, so there was a bit of a mess, but I think it's a really delicious combination with this wine.
Yeah, I think for us, so we always talk to anybody who's listened to the Hannibal Brown events in the last few months. We talk about acidity sitting comfortably with acidic food, and most people don't realize that actually cheese does have an acidity to it, and in this case the acidity of the cheese is actually coming out and it's balancing nicely with the acidity in the wine, which I think is probably the reason why they fit so nicely and comfortably. I love them, absolutely love them.
And actually I think you're very right, Karina, the combination of cheeses makes for a cheesy flavor that is not like any of the cheeses on their own, so probably a good way of substituting the authentic version by sort of blending a few others.
Yeah. I have a question, actually. You said that, Karina, you said every meal you have with wine, does that include breakfast?
Depends on what time
it does.
Depends when you wake up. Usually evening meals. Well, lunch as well. Like French people actually do accompany their meals, like lunch and dinner.
The people of Champagne actually developed a particular style of champagne, which is ultra dry, and arguably you can brush your teeth with it. It is so clinically clean. Drink it with cornflakes. It's fabulous. But anyway, that's hardcore.
That's one for the next lockdown.
That's hardcore.
So I'll be really interested to know, kind of going back to your roots and your memories from back home, because I think you guys have been in this country for quite a long time. What is your most nostalgic sort of type of dish that really warms the heart? Because obviously cheesy things for me is the ultimate. But
Oh, do you want to? It's really hard to pinpoint one dish particular. I think it's more like flavors, because I was craving, when I came first to the UK, I was craving for herbs, like herbs, using them as a decoration, but using them in cooking. And that was actually, I noticed that was not a thing here, to use herbs in your cooking. They were mostly like, little decor here and there, but not chopped up, in a dish.
And that's actually the point about herbs, because a lot of people, when they think about Eastern European food, they think of quite heavy and quite sort of comforting, stodgy food. And actually for both of us, and a lot of the food that we make, we do use a lot of herbs. So, and it doesn't need to be just dill, which is what most Eastern Europeans know. We use a lot of parsley, tarragon, all sorts. So, it's actually can be very, very vibrant. Yeah. I think for me,
definitely.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, you're absolutely right. I think in classic British cuisine, it's not necessarily bland, but there's sort of basic flavors which tend to be hearty and not down the herbs and spices route, like maybe a sprinkle of mixed herbs, but don't go too far because you don't want too much flavor in there.
Oh yeah, but I think times have changed actually. In this country, I think people are really, really looking for unusual, and probably one of the reasons why Thai food and Indian food is so popular in this country. And I think your dishes, your lovely little sort of canopy dishes, I can see why they would be so popular in this country, because they're just full of flavor. I love it. Absolutely love it. Just to let everybody know that, Hannibal Brown, we deliver wine up and down the country every day throughout the year. And the Russian Rebels ladies are based in, is it Bermondsey?
That's right. Yeah.
And also deliver pretty much around the London area and out into the, what do you call them? The Shires.
Suburbs.
Shires. I don't know what your lead time is. Maybe you just want to tell everybody.
At the moment, we do deliveries once a week. So people can order by Thursday and we deliver on Saturday. But of course, if people have like a little gathering, then if they let us know, let's say 5 working days in advance, we're very happy just to do something special just for them and kind of have a separate delivery on a different day. So yeah. We've also really, really missed having gatherings. And obviously, it's really strange times at the moment, but as things slowly open up, it's just like we're really looking forward to be able to have at least like a, a bit more than just 1 or 2 people. Yes, it would be really lovely.
Well, you have been able to adapt your business like us, I suppose, to cope with this, but actually in real life, you're all about getting into people's houses and cooking for them and putting on, events, right? And food for parties, etc. Maybe we can do an event together, hopefully, at some point as well.
Yeah,
I just want to let you know that, I'm not sure you can see the comments, but there's some really great comments coming through. Luke has said that the cheese breads are just fantastic. Evelyn has made the cheese pastries, and she says they're ridiculously gorgeous. Michelle has eaten hers all at once and got out. So, definitely a real winner.
Can you believe that somebody actually said, I think it might have been Kerry, who said that they might not look much, but Finn loves them. Thanks for that, Kerry.
They were not that refined, I must say, but and also very much looking forward to seeing how the boozy prunes work with the red that we've got coming.
Yeah.
So actually, I'd be really interested to know. Go on, Katrina.
No, we have a version here. I think the light doesn't really do.
No, the light
it's a bit of a funny. Maybe I'll try and turn the lights on, because it's a little bit dark where we are. But yes, I know you're going to obviously be doing a tasting of red wine with the prunes. But we can talk about it separately because that's like a really special dish. I think it's just really nice, actually. So yeah, we can talk about it separately.
It's something that caught my eye from your website because it's one of those things that sounds so very simple, just simple ingredients, but actually it's the combination that's the real winner. A bit like wine and food pairing. It's when you're making food, and if you get 2 ingredients that go really well together, that are really nice quality to start with, it's a sort of flavor sensation. So
just to get back to the wine for a moment. So this Vidiano, anybody who's just joined us, is from Crete. Vidiano is the grape variety. It is 100% Vidiano, very simple to understand. And I don't know how many people realize this, but Crete is considered to be the culinary center of Greece. And so it's sort of pertinent that we're having some nice food with it.
Yeah.
It's on our website, hannibalbrown.com. It's £16.50. It's not the cheapest wine, but then it is actually quite nice and pure and unusual and goes beautifully with these khachapuri.
There's a big call, actually, much like chili. There's a lot of farming in Crete, which is purely organic because they just don't have so many pests and issues to deal with, and they have a really perfect climate for it.
So pretty organic at the end of the day.
So really cleanly produced.
To be fair, if they're not growing grapevines in Crete, they're growing olives.
True, so it's a patchwork.
It is a patchwork of olive, grape, and vineyards.
Great heaven.
Yeah. So should we crack on with the Rougy Rouge?
Well, let's actually let's have Christina and Karina tell us about these boozy prunes, and then tell us what your soft spot for them is and why.
So so this is actually, the recipe is quite well, I'm not sure if I can call it traditional, but it's definitely like an old classic from like when we were growing up, basically back at home. But of course, here we make it with two very special ingredients. So the prunes that we use, and obviously I appreciate not everyone might have had a chance to use this particular prunes. They are from actually a Greek company that we work with. Actually, we share a kitchen with them. They're called Olivology, and they specialize in really good quality artisanal Greek products. And so these prunes, they're called vanilla prunes. So they're big and juicy, and they are basically dried without any kind of a special extra kind of preservatives. Yeah. So they're really intense. And then we wrap you make them drunk by putting them into well, it could be brandy. I think you had a really good suggestion for like a dessert wine.
Yeah.
I think
yeah. We actually with Jude made them up, and we did half of them with Armagnac.
Nice.
or cognac, but we used Armagnac, which is just a brandy. And half of them we've used Casas del Bosque Late Harvest Riesling, which is a dessert wine, which anybody who watched us, quite a few Sundays ago, we did Sweetie Sunday.
Yeah.
It's that wine. It's Casas del Bosque Late Harvest Riesling. Comes in a little half bottle. It's fabulous.
We just thought it would be a lighter option. It'd be interesting to see the difference with the two styles.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't have those fabulous options. So we just used Waitrose brandy, but it was good enough, just about.
We'll forgive you.
But we wrap them in really special air-dried smoked duck. And it's basically, so we work with quite a lot of small producers around the UK. And so this producer, he's actually based in Wales, and he's specializing in making British charcuterie. And so this duck that we use is basically, it comes from Wales. But of course, you can definitely replace it with Parma ham or any other kind of really air-dried ham.
I think duck goes with prunes really well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, what do you think? How was your version?
Well,
so important for anybody who's tasting. When we do these food and wine tastings, the importance is to taste the wine first, then taste the food, then go back and taste the wine again. And do it in that order, because then you kind of appreciate the impact of the food on the wine. Remember that wine is designed to go with food. In 99.9% of the circumstances. And so, your first shot of red wine after a white wine is always going to be a bit tannins, acidity, boo, 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 boo. You have to have the food to sort of calm and mellow those characteristics down. So I've just tasted the wine. I need to taste a little.
There we are.
A little dinky.
Now I may be slightly over boozed.
Oh, there's a surprise.
You cannot overbooze them.
I over cheesed and over boozed.
I just got a question actually. Would the Rutherglen Tokai be worth a try with prunes? Topak, sorry.
I think the idea is that you sort of plump the prunes with a sort of nice sweet sort of booziness, isn't it? But I personally think we had to go for Parma ham because we didn't have time or the organizational skills to get to Wales.
We couldn't get to Wales.
You could then, because we sell this beautiful duck.
Well, there we go. There's the answer. We'll definitely be trying that the next round. But even with the Parma ham, it's a really nice sort of salty richness, and actually I think it goes really well with the wine, and it's delicious. Even if slightly overboozed.
Someone is asking about Black Mountain smoked duck. So this is not, so the one we're talking about, the name of the producer, and please do look them up. They're called Treely Farm. They actually, you can order from them directly, or because we have a few of the other products as well, you can come to us as well. But definitely, they're like one of the pioneers, if you like, of British charcuterie in this country. So they do lots of amazing different stuff. Yeah.
That's very interesting. I like the message of Black Mountain though, because actually we did a collaboration with Black Mountain last year at the Hay
We
Book
did,
Festival.
yeah.
And they do lovely duck, but let's take the recommendation from the ladies
The
here.
Truly, yeah.
I'm kind of interested. So I think for me, the wine with the what do you call them? Boozy prunes, and the Armagnac. I think what happens to the wine is that the tannins become a little bit more prominent, but they're not aggressive. And I think we've kind of tried to sort of describe this wine as a little bit like Rioja. So anybody who's noticed it, it is a 2013 vintage. This wine is from a grape called, now I can't pronounce it very well, Ajorčko or something.
Ioetico. Oh, hang on, sorry, this is a fly. There's a fly on the camera.
And it does need quite a lot of aging. So Ioetico.
Ioetico, yeah.
There's a lot of G's in there that you don't pronounce. So 2013 vintage. So it has had time to sort of mellow, and it does take on those kind of like Riojan characteristics, which is quite nice. The sort of like the oakiness, but so it is sort of like vanilla-y and oaky and this, that, and the other, but it's not too aggressive. And I think the food works actually okay.
Yeah, I think it works well. Yeah. And what a delicious combination that you wouldn't think of. So back at home, I mean, where do these boozy prunes come from? Well, what's the dish? Where does it originate from?
I don't actually know. Do you know where the original recipe comes from?
No, I think we actually came up with this combination really for one of the events.
Oh, right. An original recipe.
It's just duck goes well with prunes because it's kind of a Frenchy thing, isn't it? Because French love cooking duck with prunes. So we had a lovely ingredient as the smoked duck, and we had lovely prunes, which were just, there in Olivology, and we combined too. So
great. So it's a Russian Rebels invention. I love it.
Yeah.
But prunes are used a lot in the southern parts of Russia, Ukraine. There's actually quite a lot of recipes that use smoked prunes as well. So that in itself is something that is used in many parts of basically of our region. And there is actually a dish that we often make where you fill prunes with a mixture of soft cheese.
That's actually interesting.
I think
Michelle Clark said they just filled prunes with Sandagur, which is great because that's similar to what we used to do as well.
Yeah. Well done, Michelle.
Yep.
Job well done.
Yeah. I'd just like to just make a mention. In actual fact, Mrs. Brown of Hannibal Brown has just joined us. Good evening. Hello. Thank you very much for joining us.
Being Pam's mum.
And anybody else who's just joined us. So we are Hannibal Brown Wines, and we've collaborated with the ladies from Russian Rebels this evening, who have created these fabulous canapes to go with our evening. All the information is on our website, including the recipes. You can buy direct from the Russian Rebels. Just go onto their website. I think it's called RussianRebels.com. Is that correct?
Yeah. Could be .com or it could be .co.uk, whichever one you fancy.
Yeah, or go into Hannibal Brown. We kind of influence because the foods are working so beautifully with our wines. So
Definitely. And just to mention, last time we sort of teamed up together on our orange wine night, where we had a lovely Sicilian orange wine. And we had the roll. And I hope in the future we could all get behind our screens, and maybe we have to put on proper trousers so people not with your box on can collaborate together as well, because that'd be really fun.
That'd be lovely. Thank you for joining us, ladies. Anything else you want to just shout out about the Russian Rebels?
Actually, somebody was just asking whether we've mentioned smoked prunes, and yes, we did mention smoked prunes. And actually, I know that there is a very well-known Ukrainian recipe where you make borscht, which is, a beetroot soup with smoked prunes, and generally like root vegetables go really, really well with smoked prunes. You can do it at home, like a very basic smoker, with like foil and a bit of kind of find. And so yeah, definitely, Evelyn, look it up, Google it or something, or just call us. We can talk about that.
Oh, maybe we can have a basic smoking masterclass in the pipeline there.
I think what would be really interesting, in actual fact, if you're up for it, that we actually choose some other wines and try and actually choose specific canopies to go. Maybe we do this again.
Yeah,
We'd love to.
Really nice.
Thank you so much.
That'd be great.
It was lovely
Thank
to
you.
see you, ladies.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Take care.
See you later.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Okay,
great.
it's us again. Here we
That
are.
was great. Really, really lovely to kind of collaborate with other small business, like-minded businesses. And Katrina and Karina, they launched their business at the same time as us, pretty much in 2012. So, and they have done similar to us in the with each different twist and turn of what happens out there in the big wide world. You just adapt and make things work, and which is why they started home delivery, online ordering service, but actually do really big time go for events and catering and providing for parties and that sort of thing. And their food is fantastic. So do look them up. They're in Spa Terminus, which if nobody's visited is kind of the new borough market. It's the
better borough market.
New underground, slightly more quirky and lesser known, but fantastic. In Bermondsey. So Spa Terminus, do look it up, and Russian Rebels, of course, as well.
Okay, so come on, let's talk about Greece again.
Well, we've now all on the Aioitika.
Let's ask a question.
Ooh, okay.
Let's ask a question.
So we know ancient Greece, ancient winemaking.
It's more ancient.
More ancient than anybody watching, hopefully. So here's a starter for 10, because we know that everyone likes.
Pay attention.
The Greek.
Pay attention.
Who was the Greek? Who is or was the Greek god of wine and fertility? It has to be said, but wine specifically.
Yeah.
Very significant in the history of Greek.
It's an easy one. Come on, that's an easy one.
And whilst you're thinking about that, we'll just have a little word on this Aioitiko.
Yeah.
Because I know a couple of people have mentioned that they've had have a slurp and really loved it. It's got that nice age to it, and if you look at the color, it's got sort of slightly browning. It's ready to drink, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's ready to drink now, but Aioitiko is known as lion's blood, sort of deep color that it's got.
Yeah, lion's blood.
Yeah. So let's not go there. And it is the most planted red grape variety in Greece. Like, it's prolific. Well, it's not prolific. They're all prolific. There's such a wide variety of grapes, but this is definitely the it's not Bacchus. It's not Bacchus.
Oh, come on, wrong country. Yes, well done, Russell Clark, Dionysus. Well done.
Excellent stuff. Often rosés, light, refreshing rosés, through to sweet dessert wines, but most commonly sort of oak-aged red wines that benefit from a bit of age.
Yeah.
So this is exactly how you want it. And we did have to do a bit of searching, which is why it took a while for us to...
Should we show them just the picture of where it comes from, in actual fact? Because the winery, the name of the winery is called Monemvasia. And I will just show you on the map, in actual fact.
You're on the map?
Yeah.
This is possibly the best.
Here we go.
It's tricky, but it's...
Okay, so
that's
time.
really not.
Hang on.
Let's see if I can find something a little bit better. So describe it whilst I try.
The winery. The name of the winery is Monemvasia, and Monemvasia.
Possibly no
where
better.
Where is it? That's even worse.
Possibly no better, but look at the pink blob, and it's got 3 dangly prongs. It's the right-hand dangly prong.
It is, exactly. It's the fork. It's the right-hand dangly prong. The winery itself is on a tiny, what can only be described as an island, because there is it's a causeway that, depending on the height of the water, although it is the Mediterranean, so it shouldn't get too high or low, depends on whether you can get there or not. But Monemvasia, interestingly...
Or is this a question we should ask people?
They're not going to know it.
Okay, all right.
Monemvasia is the Frankish word for Malvasia or Malvasia. Malvasia being the sweet dessert wine grape that was, it was cultivated and still continues to be cultivated, but it is a sweet, pudding wine. That's not what this makes. This makes red wine. It just happens to be the winery's name.
Yeah, and the name of an area, a specific area as well, which is Monemvasia Malvasia. But yeah, no, Aioitico is the grape variety.
Yeah, and they kind of, the suggestion is that these wines, as we said earlier on, that they take time to mature and sort of actually develop. This is a 2013. They reckon, you know, anything from sort of 7 to 10 years is when you should be drinking them. So there's still a bit of, like, you know, gas in the tank on this wine.
What do people think of it? Would be really interesting to know. If you've got the red, if you've got the red and you're trying it, what do you think of it? And or what do you think of it with the boozy prunes if they're not too over boozed? I think the late harvest Riesling is slightly more gentle. Too much Armagnac is quite alcoholic. So.
Do you know what? I think, you know, the Khachapuri could really go quite nicely with this as well.
Yeah, I believe. I think
the cheese is actually quite robust, and I think that could go quite nicely with this wine as well.
I'd agree. And again, cheese with anything in my books.
Okay, so just to do the shout out for the old, you know, because we are here to sell wine. I know you think we're not.
Are we? No, we're here to drink wine and chat about it.
Normal price $18.95. Never think that anything's cheap coming out of Greece. But it's actually reduced to $17.50 at the moment, and will be until we decide that we need to make a bit more money. So probably at least until the end of August, beginning of September. So give it a go. It's I think it's rather nice actually, and it is a nice alternative to Rioja. You said that the trade, oh goodness me, we are in the trade, considered that this particular grape variety compares to Sangiovese. Yeah, everybody knows Sangiovese, the heart of Chianti, and Sangiovese is always all about cherries. So if you can get some cherryness in this, in the characterization, remember, swill and pour it around your mouth.
Give it a good sniff.
Yep, to really get it to sort of expose the character. But yeah. So
I got a question. A question for the. It is quite dry evening. You're right, which is why it works really well with food. Try it with the Khachapuri. So here's a question. So lots of people will go to Greece, try Greek wine, which would be the first time they've tried it.
Windsurfing.
Well, yeah, that's another story. Try Greek wine, and then that'll be their first try of Greek wine and their last. And that is often because, well, maybe not so much these days.
Oh, the R word.
Certainly back in the day.
The R word.
Because of that wine beginning with R.
Not reproduction.
A, what is it? And B, why has it put so many people off Greek wine?
Yeah, come on. Quick. This is a quickie.
Excuse me. And whilst we're thinking about that, I'm just going to have a quick word on... again, why the popularity of Greek wine sort of waned massively. So Greece, historically, ancient Greece was the starting point for commercial wine production. Then for thousands of years later, during the Ottoman rule, the laws of Islam say you really shouldn't be boozing. So winemaking, wine drinking really got flattened for a good 400 years of Ottoman rule.
Imagine that.
Well, it wouldn't work in the UK, but and then it really didn't get back on its feet, the wine industry in Greece. In the 70s, there was suddenly this boom of tourism. Everyone was going on holiday to Greece, Mamma Mia style. And all of these locals who were little small farmers just tending their vines and making little house wines were like, oh God, there's a business in tourism. And the peak of the tourism season.
Forget about the vines.
Yeah. The peak of the tourism season was also roughly harvest time. And it's like, well, do I pick grapes or do I make money out of these holiday makers? So,
let's go smash some plates.
Yeah,
that's what they say.
Give them the plates, smash the plates, make the money out of tourism. And the wine industry really suffered. And it's only really since the 90s, isn't it?
Yeah.
The younger generation have come back to Greece, learned more about winemaking and said, okay, we can do this properly.
Yeah.
So 80% of the wineries in Greece are less than 20 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a staggering figure.
Yeah.
There are a huge number of smaller wineries.
Yeah. And
90% of the grape varieties, I think I said this earlier, 90% of the grape varieties grown there are indigenous.
Yeah.
Unheard of. Your Xinomavro, Assyrtiko, Moscofilero,
I think you're speaking Russian.
All of these, plate smashing, Feta, Filo. So, it's a new
which is why it
industry
puts
that's
a huge
growing.
amount of focus on the marketing, and that's why actually, you know, these guys, the Vidiano, have really got it right. There's something that is easily pronounceable in, you know, Latin countries or Western European countries. It's easy to understand. But that's really where they need to sort of, you know, catch up on, and you know, by and large, Greece could like thrive big time. But listen, let's go back to the question. They got it right,
Retsina.
of course. Retsina, woohoo!
Now, Retsina, you know, actually, I have always known of it, and I only really tried it a few years ago for the first time, and the last time, as promised, and it's awful. But so Retsina is wine, white wine generally, which is infused with pine resin. So it's, imagine a bit of toilet cleaner in your Assyrtiko, and that's your Retsina. And there's a really good kind of, should I say the sort of legend has it?
The legend, go for the legend.
So legend has it that Retsina came about when the Romans were...
The nasty Italians invaded.
Well, when the Romans were invading, and the Greeks thought, you know, 2 fingers up to you Romans, we're going to like taint the wine with toilet cleaner or pine resin so that it's horrible and you won't want to drink it. That's the kind of legend, which I really love. I think that's really funny.
But the reality was, or still is, in actual fact, that the Greeks got a bit of a taste for it, and to this day still enjoy Retsina wine
with
because
the right food.
It goes with certain types of their food, which is mostly their meze. But Retsina, if you're going to drink Retsina, it has to go with spicy food, with, you know, big bold flavors, basically to get rid of the flavor of resin in it. It is resin. That is what it is. That is what's giving off that flavor.
And back in the day, the resin was actually what was sealing the amphorae, or the amphora, which were transporting the wine. So it was really a taint from the seal. And then but they sort of thought, well, this is how it's going to be. We quite like it, or maybe we just have to say we quite like it and go with it. Because,
but isn't it still the biggest seller in Greece?
There's still about 20-30% of wine produced in Greece is Retsina consumed.
So my question
locally,
my question to you is, if you're still hanging around there, and we're going to finish up in a second, is Retsina red, white, or rosé? Or all of them,
or pine-coloured,
or pine-coloured green. Yeah, what could it be?
Luke's saying, ladies, we missed the anecdote earlier, alcohol poisoning with Aphrodite. Oh. Yes, we did miss that. Gosh, we'll have to scroll back through and see what happened there.
Can't see it.
But Simon and Luke did a mini wine tour of Cyprus a couple of years ago, and it was amazing. Okay, so
fantastic,
Cyprus,
fantastic. I mean, it is, you know, it's the same as everywhere. You know, you can go to Crete, you can go all over Greece, and you will find fantastic wineries, and you will find not so fantastic wineries. It's the same in England, it's the same wherever you go. You have to, and that's what we do, really. We're doing the job for you. So in a normal environment, we would be sourcing around about sort of January, February time, maybe in August. But at the moment, we are reliant on the wineries sending us their samples. And it was a hell of a lot cheaper for us than
it was
traveling around the countryside. But I hope you like them in actual fact. I think they're great additions to the portfolio.
Yeah, 2 really different wines, both really good with food.
Yeah.
Again, I think the Ayuritico, the red, to say simply, is a really great wine for people who like Riojas, Chiantis, kind of classic, slightly aged wines. And Vidiano, I would say, if you like the opposite end of the scale to your Sauvignon Blancs, the softer, it's still got the acidity, but if you like more like sort of Vermentino or Verdejo, that's really great for that sort of.
So we have some answers coming in from my question. Is Retsina red, white, or rosé? We have white. We have white, and we have
Alison
white.
says a colour dark.
And then we have, and I think that is from Mrs. Brown of Hannibal Brown. Not that she has any inside knowledge, but she's bang on. It is kind of a dark yellow. She's kind of right. So slightly oxidized and slightly with that resinous color. But it can actually be made white or rosé, but it's definitely not red.
Definitely not red.
And, you know, if you're feeling brave, go and have a glass, but I'm not going near it.
So here's a little update on the next few weeks. We have
Ernst Lucen.
we have a few winemakers coming to join us over the next few weeks, and it's super exciting because they're all like phenomenally good.
We've got them lined up. So next Thursday we have possibly, if not, you know, top 10 winemakers in the world. Mr. Ernst Lucen of the Villa Wolf Winery. He's going to be talking to us live about his Villa Wolf Winery and all those lovely wines that we do for him. Then we have Jonathan Grieve, also known as Jonty's Ducks.
Of Jonty's Ducks, which is our two South African wines. And this is the guy who uses an army of ducks as his pesticide, and they're brilliant, and he's full of character, as are the wines. The wines are superb.
Yeah. Go onto our website right now. Well, not right second. Wait till we finish. But go on to HannibalBrown.com. Look up Jonty, Jonty, Jonty's Ducks, and watch the video about the ducks. And then come and join us in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. And then for those of you who have over the years or the weeks or however long you've been with us enjoyed the Casas del Bosque wine or Bosque wines from Chile, who we've had since the inception of Hannibal Brown, like forever. We have got the winemaker joining us from Casas del Bosque, which is super exciting. Yeah. They won Chilean Winery of the Year 2 years in a row, all organic farming and all phenomenally good wines. Yeah. So that's super exciting. Yeah. And we've got a big bad boy Barossa coming up.
Yeah. So anybody out there who is into their massive, great big bruiser reds, and we know you're out there, we have one of the original flying winemakers, John Weeks, from Australia, who is dialing in at 3:30 a.m. from South Australia.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be on tip-top form.
And he is going to be talking to us about some new Australian wines that literally just arrived on DHL yesterday. They are bruisers.
Very exciting.
They are absolute bruisers.
The bottle's about this big.
Oh yeah, he calls the bottle is so heavy. It's like 1,000-gram bottle. What does he call it? He calls it something.
A pain to ship, I'd say.
I can't remember. I can't remember.
Big bad boy Barossa, anyway, I think we'll go with.
The dates are are on our website. Go and have a look. They may get changed around a little bit because Jonty's wife's birthday is coming up, so we might have to change him around, just change the dates a little bit. But there we've got Germany, we've got South Africa, we've got Chile, and we've got Australia. So lots to look out for.
I will endeavour to get the canapé recipes out well in advance, so we've all got some really lovely tasty things to eat whilst we're listening to these fabulous winemakers tell us about their stories and their wines. So thanks everyone for joining us. Just want a quick shout out. Alice's comment really made me laugh there. End of homeschooling for them today. So they would even be drinking Retsina or potentially just the pine resin on its own, right?
Well, maybe the thank yous should go out to the homeschoolers. Forget about the NHS for a minute.
Forget milk vouchers. We should get wine vouchers.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you for joining us. Thanks again to Christina and Karina from Russian Rebels. It was really nice to have them and with us and to hear a little bit more about what happens from where they come from and then their food ideas and their lovely canapés.
Yeah, their information is on our website, and we definitely guarantee that their food is phenomenal. So if you want some lovely little food ideas, just go and pick it up from there.
Brilliant.
Forget about Tesco's.
So Yamas.
Did I say Tesco's?
I didn't think that was even on the cards. Okay, so Yamas, everybody. Have a lovely evening.
Yamas,
Finn's been really badly behaved this evening.
Yeah, he has.
Have a lovely evening all. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Thursday next week.
7 o'clock. Don't be late.
Cheers.
Bye.